all right. And one for Freedom Only Fitness. Uh, about to have a blast with this. Just getting warmed up. Just getting warmed up. Let me get some things set up. As some of you know, was really getting deeper into content on the health and fitness tip. And I have a really unique approach as far as where I'm going to go with this. And I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. I'm really excited about this project. Just for the sake of the stream, that's me. Even having more fun with StreamYard, kind of the features. Leave some things to be desired, but we're going to get into it. I'll give you a quick little background on me for the people who don't know me, for the new folks here on this channel, and for anyone checking in. Let me get rid of that. I am a videographer and motion graphic designer, formerly event promoter, producer. Um, Oakland, California based. And I have been for the greater portion of my life into health, into fitness for sure, movement, activity, weight training, whatnot. But in the latter part of my life, I mean, I'm 44 years old, be 45 in a couple of months. Looking forward to that. Not that the number really matters or anything, but directly relative to my progress and kind of where I'm at on this journey of just really understanding kind of like health, fitness, how our bodies work, how our bodies move. And I am very excited to share what I've been learning with the folks. I'm still on this fast right now. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Oh, did I not edit the title of the stream? Because as of now, I think I did it on YouTube, but as of now, let me do it in StreamYard. I just hit 84 hours on the fast. Now it's like, let me show you for sure, because I got a whole presentation, the thumbnail. But hold on, let me do this though. Let me do this. I'm kind of fumbling through, but because I need to reshare this. I was supposed to do this stream yesterday, and this is not even how I wanted to do it. Um, let me change. Shout out to MacBone. Let's see. Where I'm at. Switch account. Let's go to my other channel and make sure people know that I'm live on this, so I'll have to repeat myself. But I really don't mind though, because I really want to get into this content more. Some of you guys know I was having a blast with this earlier last year, but then I kind of pivoted away, stood back from it for a second because there was more that I wanted to do. It wasn't quite enough. Because the whole fitness over 40 situation, like people get into their 40s, and this really should be fitness over 30, because I'm seeing a lot of folks out here that, let's just say, I'm trying to be nice about this, are aging prematurely. Let's put it that way. Let's see, live right now. We're gonna get deeper on the health and wellness tip for sure. So I just wanted to send that out. Actually, let me do it this way too, because I'm gonna add the photo too. That tends to get people in the game more. And 184 JPEG. So yeah, I'm kind of fumbling with this, and I do not like it. But edit the preview. I don't want the preview like that. But see, I don't like how some of these things are acting. But that's fine. 84-hour fast. So why would you do an 84-hour fast? AM1. Why would you do that? Well, I got into fasting, really like kind of experimenting with it. So this is like late. This is like what, 20 or 2008, 2009. That's when I really started experimenting with this stuff and just trying it out with my workouts, because I used to be a cable technician. So I'm out in the field, we're running around, I'm eating super unhealthy, McDonald's for breakfast every day, eating Subway at lunch, calling myself trying to be healthy. All bad, all bad, all bad, all bad, all to the bad. And I put on a lot of weight. So I'm 6'2" right now, probably weigh about 200, somewhere like 195, 200 pounds, somewhere in there. Fluctuates a lot with the weight situation, especially right now on this multiple day fast, right? So you drink a gallon of water, throws your whole game off at this point. So the benefits of doing this kind of stuff is so interesting. I'm gonna get into that because I got a whole janky presentation set up for you guys. And I say janky because it's not quite how I want to do this. I really wanted to do this on camera, but I don't have my setup quite the way that I wanted it. But we're gonna get into it for sure later because I'm gonna expand on all of this. But I got some slides. I got a little presentation for you guys. Yeah, the outside element of it, along with the sunlight, and that's something that really like clicked for me because right here in the Bay Area, for whatever reason, we're by the water here. The weather gets weird, specifically Oakland, like San Francisco too. It's been gloomy. It's raining and gloomy as we're going into more spring, summer. I know we just hit April, May. They're talking about April showers, so it's kind of raining and all that. So allergies was crazy, but I wasn't getting the sunlight that I wanted. And as you guys can see, I'm on the light skinned side, so I wanted to, be getting my sunlight, and wasn't getting a lot of that. So the sunlight, vitamin D hormone activation is super duper important relative to like all of your biological systems. Like there's so much. I mean, obviously we have these bodies that have just so many like hormone balance, like nutrient needs, nutrient deficiencies we have to make up for. So the whole concept of eating, getting certain minerals, enzymes from plants, animals, however you want to look at that, but then of course just nature in general having like certain natural electrical fields that bind and combine, merge with their body. So the idea of like just getting outside, just literally walking on grass. People say touch grass, walking on grass, like grounding, super big deal. But just sunlight too, right? Because I don't want to get too deep into that part. We'll touch on that later. Um, the sun is very important with that for sure, for sure, for sure. So I was kind of lacking that, and then I went out of town. I just got back from a trip and got some of the most sunlight that I got in a long time. For the first time in a long time, got a whole lot of sunlight, and that just changed everything, like everything. So it put me on a whole other level to the point where it's like muscle tone, everything. My energy level just jumped up along with the sunlight. So that's super important. But I already knew that I wanted to get into this reset, and definitely been waiting to run up this new brand situation. So some of you guys know I had this rocking early last year as free energy, but I changed it to freedom only. I'll do another video on that later if you guys want to know why I changed the branding around. But this freedom only lifestyle, fitness, there's so much more to it. Because basically all I'm doing, and I said this before last year, I'm just literally showing people the lifestyle, just the kind of way I move. Again, I started experimenting with the fasting thing because I was eating super unhealthy when I was a cable technician. And within that job, I left doing the field work and was going into a sit down desk job. So I knew that was like all bad. Because think of it this way, I'm moving around, so I'm burning a lot of calories, but I'm eating a lot of very bad food. Shout out to Club Fortune. I'm eating a lot of bad food, so it's definitely not a good look. But then to go sit down in the office can be just as bad, if not worse, because now you're less mobile, you're not moving around as much. And with sit down jobs, it just creates this whole other kind of energy leech kind of situation where you can find yourself just binge eating on food or whatever, just out of almost like boredom. So it's kind of a catch 22. But I knew going into this desk job that I definitely needed to reset and be ready. So I knew prior to that, I'd already been hitting the gym, working out, but I knew that I wanted to really go harder on the gym and the eating tip. Now, with this desk job that I have, it afforded me more time. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. I worked for this cable company and I figured out how to like get my quotas for the day done in half a day. So the other half of the day, I'm just sitting online and just soaking up so much information, so much information. I still do that to this day, except I do it more in the form of podcast. So mind you, this is like 2008, 2009. I went super duper crazy taking in so much info. And I was like, okay, I really want to step it up on the workout tip, but the health eating tip, right? Super important. So I soaked up a lot of info on that and got into the whole fasting element and then just really questioning, what we've been told about food, how our bodies work, getting into like the medical industry, pharmaceutical industry, like really seeing what it is and coming at it from a perspective of how do we treat these bodies right and what kind of discipline do we need to have in order to not even need to go into a doctor's office. And this is the part I left out. When I was a cable technician, again, I'm moving around, I'm active, but I'm eating food that's has so much like, oh my God, seed oils and just preservatives. I was eating horribly. So again, I'm 6'2", but at my heaviest, I weighed myself. I remember Hilltop Mall in Richmond. I went into the 24-hour fitness, calling myself working out after work with one of my homies. And I got on the scale and it said 265. 265. My After I made changes in my life, my average walk around weight would be like 200. I weigh between 195 and 200 right now. But so I was walking around at 265. So I mean, just to give you the perspective of that, like imagine just the weight of that. So let's even just round that to 65, 70 pounds, 70 extra ass pounds, 70 pounds. Now, I guess I could say I was stronger, but at the same time, like I was fat. There ain't no way around it. Like it sat well on my body because I'm tall, right? But all things considered, no, 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 no. So again, I was working out in the field, but I knew I was going to go to a desk job and be sitting down. Atonement. Yeah, it's definitely like and subscribe if y'all are new here. So I just want to give some backstory on kind of like me and kind of my history with this. I'll be elaborating on this in other videos going forward because I appreciate everybody pulling up to me here. I'm going to be expanding on this, doing a lot of uploads and everything. So make sure you guys hit the subscribe, but hit the bell for sure because I really do want to push more content and there's so much more to get into. But I mean, 84-hour fast. I'm on it right now. So as of 11, and I kind of rounded it, but as of 11 a.m. this morning, that was 84 hours. So I haven't eaten anything since approximately 10:30 on Saturday night. Now, again, I've been experimenting with different types of fasting, that master cleanse kind of fast situation, along with my workouts. Because for me, I'm an extreme kind of guy, right? So it's like, let's take it to the max. Let's push it to the limit. I want to like take it to the max. So it's like, let me work out fast, like kind of balance it out, right? See what I can get away with. Because I get into this like nerd kind of mentality about it. Like, what from an efficiency standpoint, what's the least amount of food I need to consume while getting the best nutrient value out of what I'm eating for the best levels of performance? So that's kind of my mentality with it. So I'm experimenting with these fasting as I'm working out and I'm seeing results, right? Because mind you, 265, I had all kind of other issues that were popping up. Bad back because I was hauling around an extra 75 pounds or 70 pounds. It created some issues with my back, so I ended up having that back surgery. So yeah, a lot of issues like a herniated disc, pushing on my nerve, all bad. Yes, yes, yes. So to this day, if I slack on my workouts, that herniated disc kind of flares up, push on that nerve, it's all to the bad. So totally unacceptable, totally unacceptable. And I wanted to make some changes. And I get into something, I get real extreme with it. Hey, it's what put me in a situation where I have the career I have. I started getting more into videography and events, then the videography tip. graphic design, and I got extreme with that. And then I built a whole career doing that. So now I'm in a position where I can take two of my passions, um, the health, wellness, fitness, mindset kind of attitude, and tie it together with this kind of visual media presentations. Um, Freedom Only Fitness. That's how we're moving with it going forward. And yeah, so this fasting thing, we're gonna get into that. Let's see. Fasting. Why though? Why though? Why though? Why though? So we got some comments in the chat. I'll get it to those too. I hope you guys stick around. But yeah, fasting. Why though? Like, why would you not eat? Oh my God, you're gonna starve. You're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna do all these things. Like talk about this stuff with people, and oh my God, the reactions you get, the side eyes, the faces. It's like people don't want to hear it because people love food. The human attachment with food, the psychological attachment, the emotional attachment is very serious. So you start talking about not eating, people go real crazy and be like, no, they start projecting their thoughts about it on you. You have to eat, you have to eat, you have to eat. And when you start getting deeper in the game with this stuff, you start realizing, wait a minute, people have been socially engineered to eat way more food than necessary. And ultimately, it's damaging our bodies. Because one thing is just too much food in general, right? Because the energy it takes to digest the food is a lot. Like I just heard somebody said the other day, some YouTuber said on the day, the calories you consume, 50% of that energy relative to those calories is just used in digestion. So 50% of the energy on the day is digestion. So just imagine if you're stuffing yourself, you got big plates of food multiple times a day. That's crazy to me. So I mean, you start getting into brain fog and all that. But I mean, let's think about the quality of food, the food. So now you're dealing with a situation where you're eating too much, but then your body has to deal with what's in the food, right? So I mean, wow, extra chemicals, pesticides, hormones, depending on the meat, nitrates, preservatives, all of this stuff your body does not need. So fasting puts you in a situation where you can one just generally reset everything, but obviously creating a situation where your body has more energy to digest and then get rid of the things that are accumulating. That's a big deal. Let's get into this next slide. So for me, the why though is just one, a general reset overall. So I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's stand back and let's stand back and stop everything and then move forward. So it's like an art project, right? Like, hold on, let me stand back and look at this canvas. Let me start with a clean slate, a clear canvas, right? So that's essentially what I'm doing. So 3.5 days, that's the 84 hours, right? And at this point, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, do I just keep going? Because I feel great right now. I can give you how I feel right now. But again, I approach this from the position of a general reset. And then, of course, the mental discipline it takes to really be like, I'm just not going to eat. And I was around so far, I haven't been around that many people. I'll get into that too. But I did have a gig the day after I got back, and they're serving food, and I'm smelling this pasta. That is real good pasta, this garlic bread, all this other stuff, and I'm smelling it. And one of the things when you fast, your sense of smell, your sight, your hearing is all seemingly amplified. Now, I think there's some like actual physiological mechanisms to that, but I mean, think about it. It's like it puts you in this hunter mode, right? You're like, oh, I need to eat. So it's kind of like all the senses are amplified, like as if you need to go hunt. So the mental discipline that it takes to stay focused, like, hold on, I'm doing this for a purpose because I want this general reset and the energy boost, the mental clarity and focus that comes with this, all the benefits of it. There's a lot of benefits, and it gives you the mental clarity, and you start to think like, wait a minute, what am I doing as far as eating so much? Do I really need to eat this much? It's an interesting thing because when you get into the break fast, the refeed part, then it's a situation where it's like, well, wait a minute. I didn't eat anything for 3.5, 4 days. Now, when I come back, one, you can't come right back and just eat crazy. You can't just come back and eat crazy off top. Hold on. Let me do this. If you come back and eat crazy, one, it can have like some really detrimental effects. You got to be careful with this stuff. Consult your indoctrinated physician before you start to. Don't do anything here. This is all entertainment purposes. And this is just what I'm doing. Don't do what I'm doing. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. All right. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? All right. Just threw some wrenches out. All right. So, no, that's an interesting point. I'll get into that too. Cause, yeah, I get massive headaches when I haven't eaten in about 16 hours. How do you deal with that? Well, that's the thing. When you fast, essentially what's happening is your body's going to start revealing to you a lot of different things. In most instances, my perception of it is that you are there's a couple of things actually. One, your body just gets used to working off different types of energy, right? So it's either sugar or fat. When you get into that's the whole point of fat. Like your body's storing fat because it's using it as energy later. So, for the most part, when you're eating every day, your body's used to taking outside fats and sugars. And in most cases, everybody's eating way too much sugar. So, part of it is the side effects of the sugar or the withdrawal symptoms from sugar. So, there's that part of the headache. Then it could be whatever else that you're consuming on a day to day basis you not having that. So you could be withdrawing from other things, right? Like think about it. Like if somebody who drinks coffee every day, every day, every day, every day, then you stop. One of the major withdrawal symptoms from caffeine is headaches. I know because I'm a big fan of caffeine because I love that for my workouts. Tried all kind of different pre-workouts, energy drinks and whatnot, and kind of whittled it down to specific things that I will consume that give me that boost on the workout without that's a whole other discussion. I'll do a whole other video on that. But essentially the detoxing process and the withdrawal is basically one and the same with detox. So that's a lot of what's happening when you're getting those headaches. I went through that so far over the past few days. It's blurring together into one big day. But yeah, you kind of just gotta push through that, drink a bunch of water, for sure, you get massive headaches. And again, consult your indoctrinated physician before doing any of what I'm saying. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, right? Uh, if you want to experiment with this stuff, which I highly suggest you do it at your own risk. Don't put that on me. We are all adults here. Don't put that on me. But yeah, the general reset overall, the mental discipline, the mental focus that comes, it gets real crisp. Like, wow. And I started this fast in a very not ideal way. So I was traveling, I'm interacting with different folks. I'm shooting because I'm a videographer. So I'm shooting. So I was in Mexico, popped through LA, San Diego, Las Vegas, and because I kind of do this round trip like every month or so, every couple of months, because I'm just doing and moving like that. And that's a part of why I do these things. Cause, I'm a middle aged man. All right. I'm 44, coming up on 45. So I got to keep my energy levels up, keep my creativity levels up. Right. Because my work is based on creativity. So I can't be bogged down and having like mental blocks and creative blocks. I got to be on it, on it, on it in the most efficient way possible. So let's treat my body in the most efficient way possible. Plus, I refuse to be one of these middle-aged fat dudes that's just out of shape. It's just not happening. It's unacceptable. And I was one of those fat dudes, right? So make sure you guys understand that I I'm speaking from the standpoint of, I want to be politically correct and all that, but at the same time, I was that. I don't want to be like fat phobic or anything like that, but I was some fat guy in my 30s. And I was like, that's unacceptable because I was actually having issues like with my knees, joint issues, all kind of inflammation. And then, like I got told you, my back was really messed up, like to the point where I couldn't really walk and even had to have surgery on it. So that was all to the bad, all to the bad. But yeah, once you start getting into this stuff, the mental focus that comes when you reset this, obviously, then there's the whole like gut bacteria balance. There's all these different types of bacteria that exist in your stomach that help with the digestion process, extracting certain minerals. There's certain bacteria in your gut that actually produce enzymes that you can't even get from the food. In other words, it's the bacteria itself that actually use what you're intaking. Basically, let's just say the bacteria eats what you're eating and changes it into certain enzymes and certain things that you need. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Shout out to World of BC Media, my guy. Shout out to everybody in here. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the bell, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, because I'm about to be dropping a lot of uploads. This channel is going to be more uploads for sure than streams. So right now I'm just talking about this 84-hour fast. Why though? Why would you not eat for 84 hours? And the reset, it's coming along. Now, here's the thing. Right now, the mental focus piece on this particular fast it's interesting, right? Because one of the downsides for me, I have trouble sleeping in general and have for most of my life. But here's the thing. When I break this fast, I'm about to get some of the best sleep that I've had in a long time. Because systematically, when I do these fasts, that's how it works. On the refeed side, my digestion has been shut down for 3.5 days. And like I was telling you guys before, a lot of the energy you consume every day, half of it basically is spent in the digestion phase. So I haven't had to digest anything because I haven't had any calories since Saturday, right? So as soon as I break the fast, it's gonna basically wake up my digestive system and start is gonna come for that energy, right? But the flip side of it is fasting is notorious for throwing off your sleeping. So I already have trouble sleeping, but fasting throws that off even more. It's kind of a catch 22. So that's one of the things, the downsides. I'll say if you get into experiment with like extended fasts, it's kind of tricky because the first night usually is the roughest. And what I mean by first night, like when you go your first 24 hours and then you sleep, it's typically pretty rough. And I'm used to it now, so it's hard to say it's rough because I know what to expect, but it was very interesting. So again, back to this point. I was traveling. I've only done I did like a 3-day fast starting off the beginning of the year. And I've done a couple of like, mind you, I'm basically intermittent fasting every day. I really only have like 2 meals a day on average. So I just want to clarify that part too. And it's like so second nature to me, but I want to make sure I drive that point home. And I'll give you guys more tips on kind of how I set up the intermittent fasting thing. But I've been doing that since the 2008, 2009 era that I was telling you guys about. And getting to a point where it's like cardio for breakfast. I wake up, I don't eat anything. I go work out first. I'm doing like HIIT, high intensity interval training, and then get my lift in, the sauna. So it's like doing everything super intentional, super balanced. And then by the time I get out the gym, uh, hit the shower, refresh, put the fit on. I'm feeling fresh. I'm feeling super energized, and then get to work. And I'm cranking out creative work and building projects and really just pushing it to the limit. You know what I'm saying? And I love that energy and I love that workflow. So the idea of like working out fasted. Now there's different arguments of if that's the best way to move, but for me, that was something that was super helpful. And that's something I do a lot. So I basically only eat 2 meals a day and I'm always active first. Always, always, always. Today was a little bit different because I'm 3.5 days into a fast. So when you're fasting like that, you kind of got to taper the activity off a little bit. I will go do a walk around Lake Merritt and just keep it going. I'm still debating. of when I'm gonna break the fast, right? Because man, I could just the way I feel right now, the level of hunger is very low. This whole time, 3.5 days, the hunger levels have been very low. And I'm actually kind of shocked, but at the same time, I do have experience with this. And there's the whole thing, like I was telling you guys before, where your body's used to processing essentially what you're putting in it on the day to day. And most of what you consume turns to sugar. So there's the sugar versus fat adaptation and how adaptable you are being able to shift. And the whole trick is because we're going into the physiology of the body, like in a sense where if there's no food available, and when I say food, it's a tricky thing, right? Because most of the food we eat is not real food. So it's like a weird, you got to talk around it in an interesting way, right? Because there's real food and then there's the fake food that most people eat. So the whole concept of even trying to break all this stuff down gets even more murky, right? Because think of it this way: if you're an animal, right, and you're most animals aren't eating processed food, right? They're eating what they're supposed to be eating. So I got to take it to that context just to frame it right. Most animals are eating the actual things that they were supposed to be eating from like an instinctive level. They're not going in, they're not even cooking stuff, right? They're just eating what they're supposed to eat. So if we put ourselves in that situation and think of it that way, animals are going, let's say an animal that hunts. For the most part, animals aren't just gorging themselves for no reason because they don't have like emotional attachment to food. In most cases, they're eating what they're supposed to be eating and when. And in the case where you have to go hunt for your food, it's a whole different story, right? Because what if you go out and hunt and you fail? Your body's going to have to be ready for that. So that I talk about that. I talked about that last year, like that hunter mode that comes, and you won't feel it unless you stop eating. Most people don't stop eating for less for a day, half a day. Like Flacco said earlier, you get the massive headaches in 16 hours. Well, yeah, that's when your body's starting to change. It's starting to change and say, hey, wait a minute, where's that stuff that I'm used to having? And your body's starting to shift over and say, oh, well, you have these fat stores. So back to the animal analogy, body fat is specifically emergency storage. That's specifically what it is. It's insulation, it's padding, it's some other things, but it is energy storage, energy stores. We, meaning humans, we're so misaligned with nature that we don't understand that we're not supposed to just be walking around with extra body fat like that. It's not supposed to be like that. So the whole idea of like so much body fat to the level of just being fat, or like obesity, all that good stuff, all that bad stuff, is not supposed to be like that. And it creates so many other problems. So many other problems. It's all bad. And when you start experimenting with this stuff, go on an intermittent fasting, extending the fast out, you create the situation where your body is able to go dig into and utilize those fat stores. And for me, my body is already fat adapted, meaning I can actually shift from more external sugar, carbohydrate, protein to going into my fat stores relatively easily. And it's actually easier than I thought because I started this fast under pretty non-ideal circumstances. Again, I told you guys I was traveling, and one of my stops on my travels was in Mexico. So mentally, I automatically associate Mexico with some of these food spots. I got certain spots that I hit every time I'm there, and Vegas because I stopped in Vegas for a couple of days, and I'm not perfect with the health thing, right? I'm not super perfect with it, but I just let's just be honest here. Full transparency. I was getting some drinking in. Okay. I was getting some drinking in and it was fun. I like the effect of alcohol until it wears off. And of course, if you've had too much, I enjoy it because it is somewhat of a mind altering substance, right? uh, I can appreciate how it does that. But without a doubt, and let me make it real clear, it is a poison for sure. And I know what it is. The thing is, I know how to deal with sort of repairing my body, But and I can't say that like it's an excuse, but there is something to be said for all things in moderation. And yeah, grand scheme of things, we should not be putting poisons in our body. And I have to be honest and accountable with myself about that. But again, I'm not perfect. As you guys can see, I'm over here waffling between the idea of doing something I know is bad, but making excuses for it. But it is what it is. But here's the thing. I'm traveling, I'm eating, I'm drinking, kicking it, up late, sleep was sketchy, all that. And I was driving around to a lot of these locations. And my last stop that I left off from was Mexico. So I had a 9-hour drive from where I was at in Mexico. And I left at 6 in the morning on Sunday, but I hadn't the last calories I consumed was roughly 10:30, 11 p.m. And even that evening, because I was watching UFC, that evening I ate a burger and some other stuff and was drinking these actually really good like little vodka seltzer little drinks. And they were super sugary. And I had some cookies. So basically a totally non-ideal meal. Like if I was really gonna show somebody how to ramp down into something like a fast where you want to go for a couple of days, it would be totally different than what I did. But for some reason, I knew I could do it because basically, if you try to start a fast and you eat really poorly, it makes it that much harder. Especially, you don't want to go into a fast like after consuming a lot of sugar. That's like the worst, 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 worst thing to do. But I was like, I need that reset. I need that reset. So I did it and I did it. And man, very interesting. So I don't know because when I was traveling, I was still getting my workouts in. And like I was saying earlier in the stream, I was getting more sunlight. So that just helped me activate a lot of different things, like really step up the hormonal balances. And obviously with men, middle-aged men, you get into this whole thing with hormones and like testosterone dropping off. And then you got the other environmental toxins and microplastics and all these other things your body has to deal with that's lowering testosterone. There's so much information out there about that. And that's something that we want to focus on for sure on this channel. Men boosting testosterone, women too, as well, really. I mean, men and women, of course, have those specific hormones, estrogen, testosterone, just to be clear with that. But very interesting. So definitely not the ideal way to start a fast by any means. But here I am, 3.5 days into it. And I'm curious to see, like, so hit the gym on Monday, got a decent workout in. And something else I've been tapping into more lately. And while I was traveling, I was working out. Some of you guys know or don't know, but part of my fitness routine is I like to be efficient and get bang for my buck, right? So part of the fitness routine and something I found is super valuable for the health, the fitness, the cardio is boxing, fight training. So I could take fight training, me being me, to the extremes where it's like, sure, MMA style fight training, but a good friend of mine is a Krav Maga teacher. So Krav Maga is this Israeli fighting style, and it's not even about fighting like for points. It's about disabling your opponent. But some of the ways we train for it are akin to boxing style training, and there's other things where obviously there's a lot of movement. So it's a very practical workout, like martial arts in general. Obviously, you can imagine like punching, punching, punching. That's a lot that goes into that with the body mechanics, the body torque, all that and the footwork involved. Um, and then of course to the Krav Maga tip, like it's very practical in the sense of if something actually pops off as far as some kind of violence, potential violent situation, if it pops off, of course you want to avoid that at all costs. It's very practical. So when it comes to like sports, I don't really deal with sports entertainment other than watching boxing or MMA. So that's kind of my guilty pleasure, so to speak. But even that has like practicality to it because when I watch boxing or UFC, whatever, it actually makes me think about training. So I'm watching something like, oh, I want to go work out like the next day. Typically, these things happen in the evening to the point where next tomorrow I'm getting a workout in, or I'm hitting up one of the homies about to get a training session in and spar. And there's something to be said for like for men for sure, but even a homegirl just asked me about should she get into training. So I got some homegirls that are into like, boxing style training, doing these circuit training things. But yeah, the martial arts, you get the bang for your buck of a serious workout and the practicality of actual self-defense and just kind of what that's like. And part of that is getting hit, right? Like there's something to be said for being used to getting hit. Like the defense part of it is very serious. Like if we're going to talk health and fitness, part of that is defending yourself, right? You can't be healthy if something can attack you and you can't defend yourself. We're definitely going to expand on that part later for sure, for sure. But just getting into the fasting piece, the gut bacteria reset. And like I was telling you, a lot of what we're consuming are products with added sugars. And the more you have that, it just totally throws off your body chemistry, blood glucose levels. It's all bad. It creates so many issues. And it gets to a point where your body, and depending on how you feed yourself, the gut bacteria will overgrow in such a way where a certain type of gut bacteria will want more sugar. So it actually makes you crave more sugar. So fasting creates a situation where you're not even feeding any of the gut bacteria. So you have to build that back up later, which is not that hard to do. Certain probiotics, and like I'm get into how I'll break the fast in a second. I'll expand on this in later videos as well. Um, but ditching sugar cravings. So right now, and this has happened for me before. I'm used to this. You get to a point where, I mean, right now, I'm not really craving any food other than just kind of every time every once in a while it hits me where it's like, damn, I haven't eaten in a few days. It's crazy, but I'm kind of used to it. And then it's like, I want to eat something. But even with that, you have to be careful because if you come back and eat something that's too dense, too solid, it will hurt you. It literally will hurt you. You can be constipated. It can be pretty bad. So you got to be careful about it. And on my next slide, I'll get into how I'm going to break the fast and the kind of ways I'm going to ramp this back up. But and then rebuild my stomach in a way where I'm going to build up the kind of gut bacteria that are going to help me metabolize the food and get the best energy out of it and really take in the nutrient dense food that gives me exactly what I need and create a situation where I really only need the bare minimal food while at the same time having the best efficiency for performance in my workouts. And all of this is just going to translate to my body feeling great, not having any kind of chronic pain or fatigue, and then the mental clarity and sharpness of it that works well for the kind of creative work I do. And it just puts you in a mindset to where you're sharp, you're focused. And I aim a lot of what I'm saying at men. You want that balance between focus, sharpness, and like, for lack of a better way to say it, appreciation, gratitude, love, right? But then at the same time, a level of aggressive awareness to the point where you're like, hey, there's a cold world out here that will come for your freedom, right? So having your body and your mind more clean, more sharp, more focused, it makes you look at everything you consume as far as your food, the content you consume. Like this is a big deal, right? So some of the guys in here know that we operate in certain online spaces where the content gets kind of dark, gets kind of gloomy, like right here on YouTube. And then, of course, just think about the shows that you watch, shows you've watched your whole life. And then let's get into the news. So, this whole like content consumption, along with the food consumption, just look at the value that you're getting from these things or lack thereof. It's a pretty big deal. So, you want your mind clear, clean, sharp. You want your body clear, clean, sharp, on point, right? You definitely want that. So, this whole fasting thing is a great way to approach that. Again, I'll get into it in later videos because you don't want to just out of nowhere jump right into a 3-day, 4-day fast. Like, I don't advise that at all. And of course, consult your indoctrinated physician before you do anything relatively close to what I'm saying. This is just what I do and telling you guys the benefits of it. So the sugar cravings thing, yeah, when you break that, like right now, it's to the point now where, wow, if somebody showed me, because I like donuts, okay, I really like donuts. If somebody showed me, if I go in this Whole Foods right now, look at these donuts, they got these really good vegan donuts that are just crazy good. Like I have no, I'm like, the thought of having some sugar right now like repels me. And the crazy part is if I ate some sugar right now, it would actually make me sick. Like it's crazy when you don't have a lot of like fake sugar, processed sugar, added sugar for a while, and then you have it, you can really feel what it's doing to you. Sugar is like a drug. I've read somewhere that's like chemically similar to cocaine, and that's how it's so addictive. So that's pretty serious. Like when you think about it that way. So should the like sugar, processed sugar, obviously there's sugar in fruit, but it's also bound with other enzymes and the fiber that create a situation where when you consume fruit, the sugar in it, your body handles it in a whole different way than sugars that are like extracted and refined from certain sources. So it's a whole different ballgame. Then when you get into all these variants of fructose, glucose, there's all these different types of sugars, these different molecules, and your body reacts to them in different ways. So I don't want to get too deep into that now. I can later, but just the situation where you have less sugar, it gets to a point where you don't even want it. You don't even want it. Like, oh man, these resets are so interesting because when you stop consuming crazy stuff, it's almost fun. Like you experience it again for the first time. Like I had a fast like this last year, and I did my usual protocol to break the fast because I start off breaking the fast with protein, and then other carbohydrates, but very low sugar for sure, and definitely nothing with added sugar. But I had some watermelon juice at one point, and oh my goodness, just the hydration you get from watermelon, but the type of water that's in plants that are like very hydrated, that are water dense, man, spiritual logic was good. Yeah, man. 84-hour fast. I'm trying to see. Am I gonna keep it going? I don't know, man. Like, I'm not really having any super crazy hunger pangs, and I'm feeling pretty good. I'm about to get this walk in and then come back and get some other work done. And I might do a stream on the other AM1 channel, which will be some more comedy, something more comical. Earned my comedy channel analysis of, kind of the media cultural analysis, right? A bit of foolishness, let's put it that way. But very excited, because we talk behind the scenes. I've been looking to ramp this up. Shout out to Days because I was telling Days about this as well. But just rebooting this from the free energy lifestyle to the freedom only lifestyle. And a lot of this is motivated by the idea that in 2020, there was this story, this mythology about a lot of people around the world getting sick. And I was like, wow, this information is coming to us from organizations that are populated with very untrustworthy people. You could even say they're downright evil, but definitely untrustworthy people, people that are, rife with corruption. So I wasn't really buying into what they were saying. And they were saying, hey, just trust us. And I'm like, no, I don't trust you. They're like, just trust us. I'm like, no, I don't trust you. So it really put me into that much more of a research mode. Like I was telling you guys before in my 2008, 2009 era. And even before then, I've always been super big on just researching, reading things that are could be concerned could be described as alternative info. Like if the mainstream narrative is this, I want to see and look more into some kind of counter narratives. I've always been that type of guy. Critical thinking. Like, let me approach this stuff from like a almost media oriented, journalistic, integrity oriented objectivity and balance kind of perspective. Now, I've always thought like that, but as I built a career doing visual media work and the kind of research, just to really learn that and be effective in my field and the kind of work I do, I looked more at propaganda and looked more into um, how media works and how it can be used against you. Visual media, audio, visual media, music, Hollywood. You know what I mean? Music industry, Hollywood. So there was this story about people getting sick, and I was like, well, let me learn more about what's going on with people getting sick. And it's coming from untrustworthy sources, so I don't trust them. So let me find out opposing narratives. And not to get too much into that, but essentially, I learned some of the most important health related info that I didn't know, of course, that I learned some of the most important things about human body physiology that totally just reset my whole thinking on all of this stuff. And we're in a situation where, because of the story of this sickness, the world was being shut down in such ways where you couldn't go work out in a gym if that was part of your routine. So I had to really change my routine. I had to think more home gym style, get more out in nature, get into the things that you can do for your health more so that are free. So I dove way deeper into fasting, fasted cardio, being out in nature, grounding, getting sunlight when possible. And I say when possible because it gets like foggy in the bay or overcast a lot. And when I first really started digging into this was like I want to say January of 2020 into, or no, of 21 into 22. So it changed my life a lot. So in other words, within the whole story, the whole within the whole story we were told and how not cool that was, and how, there were creating situations to box people out of society if they didn't comply with certain things. I took it and flipped it into something that was very empowering for me. And, it was a rough time for me in the sense of, wow, I learned a lot more about how people are and how easily people can be misled and how people can turn on you. But it also gave me a lot of gratitude, even more so for the people around me, the people in my circles who understand and saw through what was going on. Black Savant was good. Appreciate you coming through, bro. Make sure everybody subscribe, hit the bell and like button and bell and all that good stuff. Because I'm gonna be doing uploads. So I really want to run this channel up for sure. Because, man, there's so much positivity and opportunity going on in my life. And I want to share that. And this is one of the things that I'm really, really into. And I need to really talk about more. Especially for the homies that are, 30s, approaching 40s. I got a lot of guys that are into like health and fitness. My guys that I do fight training with, sparring with, we're about to run that up even more going into the spring, summer more. And just this part of this reset, there's so many things, like I'm stacking so many different things. It's like, get better. How do we get better? How do we be better men? How do we be better warriors? And when I say warriors, it's not like I'm trying to go fight other people, but I do want to be in a position of power and defense from other people, because there are people who are trying to come for our freedom every day, right? So we got to be sharp with our minds. We got to be sharp with our bodies, right? If you pollute your body, you're going to pollute your mind, or at least your mind isn't going to filter through to your brain and your overall energy the same way if you're polluting your body. So you got to not pollute your body and figure out how to detox it, hence 84-hour fast, right? So this is super important. So we really want to ramp this up more and more and more and be better, 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 more disciplined, more focused. That's part of the reason why I do this. So what I have next is, what am I gonna do on the breaking the fast part, the refeed part as it's described. So here's what I'm gonna do. Here is how I typically do it. And in this next slide, some of these things I haven't quite done, so I'm gonna try some different vibes. But I always start with the bone broth, because it's dense in protein. I'm gonna warm it up. It's gonna have the warmth to it to where it's gonna obviously, human body temperature, right? In other words, I'm not starting off with something super cold. It's gonna help wake up my digestion and add some protein to start off. Because right now I'm more adapted towards fat, right? So and burning my own fat. Then you get into, I'm gonna do a whole video pointing out the things I missed in this video. In this video, I wanted to do this with I don't have my proper camera set up, but this was kind of a general presentation and kind of just here's what we're doing with this channel, the rebrand and all that good stuff. Shout out to the people. But it's definitely going to be more uploads and specific points that are going to be delivered. The bone broth specifically, I was going to talk about ketones, but I don't want to get too far off from that. But the chicken bone broth is going to help with, again, transitioning me back to my body reacting to what I'm putting in it versus what's already here. Meaning, right now, my body is living off of breaking down the fat, and essentially my liver, when you're in that state, your liver essentially says, oh, well, there's energy reserves in the form of fat. Let's go to those sources and break that down. And we're going to change those into what's called ketones. So you're in ketosis, and that's your energy fuel source. But as soon as you put something in your body, in your mouth, and your body starts to digest that, then it's going to have to shift back over. So it's easy to kind of help and aid in that fat adaptation, that transition, when you start off with something like protein, because you don't want to go straight into too much fat. And you definitely don't want to go into too much sugar. So it's better to do it with protein. And it's going to help also with like the stomach lining, the gut lining, because I want to make sure that's strong because it's already healing and rebuilding itself, because a lot of stuff we eat creates situations where you get like this leaky gut syndrome thing, damages the lining of your stomach and it's not digesting properly. So certain things that are undigested can actually seep into your bloodstream undigested, which is not good at all. Again, I don't want to get too far into that. One of the next things I'm going to get into is eggs. Now, this is an interesting one because some people don't like eggs or they're vegan, vegetarian, but I'm not. So again, this is just what I do. If you guys want to take a page out of my book or my slideshow, feel free. Consult your indoctrinated physician first. Eggs, a high-level protein source, and has all kind of other enzymes and other things that are going to help boost so many different enzymatic reactions in your body. I could do a whole video on that in and of itself, but definitely I'm bringing it back with the eggs. This is the process I always follow. Now, what I'm also going to add in this, and since I'm adding it, I'm not sure on the pacing of it. Actually, yeah, I think the way I made the slide, this pacing, I think is probably how I'll do it. This order. So chicken bone broth, and then I'm going to wait maybe 4 hours after that. Then I introduce the eggs. And then I'll wait another couple of hours. And then I'm going to do a mix of lemon, ginger, and apple cider vinegar. So the apple cider vinegar is going to have some probiotics. The ginger is going to help, again, activate the digestive system. And the lemon is going to do a little bit more on the detoxing side, as well as bring back some vitamin C. Black Trunk said 84 hours is crazy. I'll just stick to my nightly 13-hour intermittent fasting. Yeah, the intermittent fasting is what's up. Definitely. But for me, I'm a old guy, right? So this stuff is really good for us older middle-aged guys, right? And I say that jokingly because that's really not where my energy is at. But no, I mean, I basically intermittent fast every day. So it's whatever. But I did need to do a reset because Trunks, if you just got in here, I was just out and about traveling a little bit, turning up a little bit, had some drinks and whatnot, and was doing it kind of crazy in Vegas and Mexico, eating a lot, and yeah, get my drink on, having fun. Shout out to that Tito's I was smashing, and getting like very poor sleep. But at the same time, I was still getting some workouts in. Fight training, heavy bag training was lit because I didn't get on that for a while I was back in Oakland. But then Yeah, I just got interesting scenarios where I can travel and still get workouts in because I got homies all over where I can, tap in, and I got locations where I can get my workouts in. Traveling and working out is usually a tricky thing. Some people want to go on vacation, just turn all the way up. For me, I'm traveling, I'm also working and working out. So that's kind of the get down. That's kind of the folks I roll with. That's what it is. But yeah, chicken bone broth, eggs, lemon, ginger, ACV mix. So this is going to be dope too, right? Because when you mix those three things together, it actually kind of just builds into this kind of almost like a they have these Kavita drinks. So I need to add some SBE sausage, bacon, and eggs. The sausage. Or the bacon. I love bacon, but I mean, man, after 3.5, 4 days, you become super picky with what you want to put in your body. Something deep fried. Stupid with SBE though. um, but yeah, just the benefits of the whole lemon ginger ACV thing. It forms into its own like beverage to the point where there's no added sugar to it. So that's dope. And it actually has like a sweet taste to it. So you mix all that up together in the right proportions. Because I was experimenting with that over the last couple of weeks, and I really was like, okay, this is kind of dope. So that'll be perfect. So then AM1 bowl. So this is something I developed where it's funny. Well, I won't give you the whole story on it, but basically, when I'm eating super on point, I got it down because, like I was telling you, I've been doing intermittent fasting for years. And I got to a point where I wanted to really be able to like, I don't like cooking. Like I'm not the type of guy that's like, I'm cooking every night. I just ain't got time for that. I got projects to do. So it's kind of like a meal prep setup where I basically just, for the most part, there was a time where I really didn't eat a lot of meat at all. But then I reintroduced fish, salmon specifically, and I was smashing a whole lot of salmon. And then there was a time where I wasn't even eating eggs. So then I brought eggs back in, and that had some really great effects to my body, my energy overall. I was like, okay, I like this. So with the reintroducing the eggs, salmon, all that, cod, just being, low key choosy about the fish. And I remember before one of my workout waves way back, I would have chicken breast too. And I'm about to bring that back as well because I just want to experiment with some different things, right? Because we get older, testosterone levels drop, plus all the external toxins and environmental toxins and all this stuff. Like we got to offset that, so we got to be selective of what we eat. And now some people say, and shout out to my guy Coach G, if he hears this, he's gonna be like, "Man, you get the same results just eating vegan." And it's like there's all these discussions going on back and forth with that, what you should be eating. There's people on these carnivore diets and all this stuff. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stick with what's been working for me because not everybody's body is the same. And across the board, what's worked for me is getting rid of added sugar, processed sugar. That's one of the just biggest game changers. And using something as simple as fasting just to reset everything. All right, hold on. Black Trunk said, the longest I've ever fasted was exactly 48 hours. I almost died. I literally worked all day and wow, and smashed or almost passed out driving. Sounds like you was doing too much. Sounds like you was doing way too much. Sounds like you was doing too much. No, well, Trunks is vegan, so we got a vegan guy in here right now, so he can chime in. Macbone says, my fellow moderators, the chat. Wait, what? In certain taoist texts, eggs are organic, raw, and natural testosterone boosters. Yeah, they are. They are. They are. Yeah, bro, you was doing way too much. Drink water, eat fruits and veggies, cardio, fast, sleep. You'll be fine. Yeah, I'm down for that. But I gotta have some meat sources in there though. Or I don't know. It's my makeup. It works well for me. And that's the thing. I actually, and I've talked to my guys about this who are like, the health fitness nerds. And I said, I actually don't like the idea of consuming a dead animal. I really don't. I really don't. Just everything about it is like, damn, I don't really like it. I really don't like it. I really don't. I really don't. I mean, if you think about eggs, what eggs are, it's like, nah. You think about chicken, fish, I just really don't like it. I thought of this a while ago. Like, if you eat any kind of meat with no seasoning, it's pretty trash. It's pretty trash. So it's like really the seasoning more so. But I mean, I can't lie though. So there's times where I didn't have meat. Like I basically went straight vegetarian for parts of my life, along with, fasting and working out. But when I did reintroduce eggs, man, everything, my lifts, all that, my cardio, everything. And then when I introduced salmon, it had just real smooth balance. So I'm gonna come back with the chicken breast too and really see what that does. But I'm gonna bring these things back in. So and one bowl, basically, I would take some fish and kale, arugula. I was rocking garbanzo beans. Everything I'm listing has specific points. Avocado. What else? What else? What else? Sometimes I will put just some extra things in there, maybe like raisins or whatever, or pumpkin seeds. Like everything has specific purpose to it. And then I put a couple of things in there, just kind of on a more flavorish type vibe. But that's the AM1 bowl. I just take that and basically just throw all this stuff together, douse it with a little bit of I get this Bragg's amino acids that's similar to like soy sauce, hook it up with that. And mind you, it's like I'm doing fasts, like to the point of these fasts, it resets your gut, right? So it resets what you crave, it resets your whole palate. So you won't even want some of the same things that you thought you wanted, right? So I come back and I'm eating what would seem to some other people like that's all you're eating. That's pretty drab. And it's like I get why people are saying that, but the way I'm resetting my body, it's like, hey, this is hella good, right? And when I do, I bake fish. My seasoning of it is pretty simple, but by the time it's all done, it's like, oh, this is hella good. So I will come back with the AM1 bowls, of course. I'm gonna step it up a little bit more on the protein. So I'm coming back obviously with the again salmon, cod. I was having some really good benefits with that. Eggs for sure. And I'm gonna bring back chicken breast and see how I feel after that. It's gonna be great. Trunks is wild. Yeah, I don't know if you know Trunks, but I'm trying to do a little different vibe on this channel. You doing AM1 channel type of energy. This is the freedom only fitness channel. You understand? So certain comments I can't even read because I'm trying to do something. I'm going a different direction on this channel. You feel me? But yeah, the refeed is about to be that. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I didn't do the slide right. But yeah, celery juice too. Celery juice is a big thing. I've been experimenting with that. One of my friends, colleagues told me about that, and he said his wife was hooking him up with celery juice, and I went in, read up on that, did some research on that. Celery juice has all kind of benefits, so it's like we're gonna get into that too. Actually, after this refeed, I'm thinking about how I'm gonna do it, right? Because I'm coming up on 4 whole days. But I want to think about how I want to break this fast, right? Because I don't want to break it because I started at essentially like 11 p.m. on Saturday, which is totally not ideal. So I don't want to break it for sure at 11 p.m. like tonight. So I got a decision to make. Do I break it tomorrow at 11 a.m. and just rock out the rest of today? But then I have a gig tomorrow, so I don't really want to do that. The gig is in the evening, so I don't really want to be breaking this fast. I have to break it today. I have to break it. Well, celery juice is nasty as hell, but that's part of your palate, though. Like what you find to be nasty is directly associated with everything else you eat. Yeah, Flacco, he on that exactly. No, Trunks, do you? I'm just saying it to you because it's funny. I get it. He said, break it, bro. Go get a donut. Man, if I ate a donut right now, the high sugar rush from that and the crash will be all to the bad. Like, you got to understand, like, I don't really have too much gut bacteria popping right now. I gotta like get that reactivated. I'm gonna have to break it. I'm definitely gonna break it. I'm gonna break it because I do have a gig in the evening tomorrow. And if I don't break this today, then I gotta break it tomorrow, or I just keep going. I'm almost tempted to just keep going. But bruh, Whole Foods got these glazed, these vegan donuts, glazed maple, these acai, whatever laced donuts. They so good. Just thinking about it right now. It's making my stomach growl. No, I'm not doing it. He said, "F them animals. If they're under me in the food chain, they are lunch." Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I'm with it, but I actually don't like it. I mean, as crazy as that sounds, right? A little paradox there. Y'all got Sprouts in the Bay Area? For sure we do. I'm about to go hit up a Sprouts, matter of fact. Houseway what? Oh, they make vegan donuts Houseway. Yeah, right. When I first saw it, I was like, eh. They also had these vegan chocolate chips. Fam. I was like, vegan chocolate chip cookies. I saw that years ago and was like, vegan chocolate chip cookies? This is like when I first really started going to Whole Foods because I live right by Whole Foods. And there was, I hit them things, they was on point. They was on point. And these vegan donuts, yeah, super on point. Sprouts got the best vegan oatmeal. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah. Hey, these people figured out some kind of like cooking wizardry making vegan cookies. And I'm a big fan of cookies and donuts. But I ain't gonna be able to really rock them for a while because hey, I just put in work on the mental discipline tip. 84 hours of not eating. Gee, think about it. Like Trunk said, the longest he went was 48. Just really think about it. If you wanted to attempt to fast, I mean, you was in the military though, so now they had you guys on some different schedules and whatnot. I'd be curious to know how that pans out, like relative to the military. But I mean, because they got you doing different stuff. Um, Sprouts has some good ass coffee too. But gee, could you imagine like how easy would it be if you cared to? How easy would it be for you to do just a whole day, 24-hour fast? Um, have your last meal at 11 a.m. tomorrow, and then wait and don't eat anything until noon the next day. How easy would it be for you to do that? And anybody can answer that question. How easy would it be for you guys to do that? Now, I would never suggest just doing it out of nowhere. No need to fast in the military. You're always working out. But the fasting thing isn't just about working out. It is something to be said for like resetting your stomach overall. And that's something a lot of people sleep on. And in general, this whole 3 meals a day thing and the five fruit groups or four fruit groups thing that they was teaching in school, this stuff is not it's not what's up. It's not what's up. I mean, there's certain benefits to dairy, but the dairy has to come from like real whole milk sources. And now this stuff is all like pasteurized, so you're not even getting the right effect of it. Like there's so much I mean, everyone knows this. You guys all know this. They've done the whole food industry super dirty. So you make, you know, you eat, make yourself sick, go to the doctor, they give you more stuff that's going to make you more sick, and then business is booming all the way around. Food and Drug Administration, right? I mean, we got to understand that from a health perspective, we have to defend ourselves by having the knowledge of what's actually going on with this food stuff. But gee, I mean, you do understand that there's some benefits to fasting, though, right? Yeah, the autophagy phase is serious. It's like really, yeah, fasting is about detoxing and the mental clarity too. Definitely. Maxwell says celery juice remedies gout and arthritis. Sweeten celery juice with apple juice or grape juice or grapefruit juice to deal with the taste. Yeah, I was gonna suggest that too. But again, part of that is just all palate stuff. Or do that's what I do. I put lemon juice, just fresh squeezed organic lemon juice along with the organic celery. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I get there's benefits. Not sure if I could do it. Okay. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I appreciate you being here. But yeah, I mean, the fasting thing is just one part of it, right? Because we do the fasting, that's the reset. And it just even makes you think again, like the discipline of not eating. And it makes you think, obviously, you're not eating crappy food, right? And then when you start eating again, you're less likely to want to eat crappy food. One, because your body's just not craving it. And two, you're like, damn, now I got to go back and undo. I got to redo everything I did because fasting like this, like, think about it. Even the way I'm speaking right now, it gives you a certain like mental clarity. Now, I did have a little bit of some coffee. There's no calories to it. So it has me like amped, but at the same time, my mouth can't track with how fast my brain is thinking. So it's like, yeah, I don't wanna lose the momentum that I created with this whole situation. But yeah, just the healing part of it, like, man, joints, because I gotta so, like I said, when I was away, I was getting some workouts in. I got back, immediately got a workout in. Uh Yesterday, got some jump rope in. Jump rope, man, that's one of my new joints. I was telling you guys about the whole fight training thing, how I use that as like a practical fight training like modality, but at the same time, the cardio, the fitness element of just training it, right? The psychology that comes with fight training, sparring, like the chess match situation of that, right? So that's serious. And then you get into like, boxing style MMA training is one thing, is great. But then you get into the deeper level stuff like actual disable tactics like Krav Maga. So I got a guy that my coach who teaches that. So that's a whole other ball game. But even training for that is serious. So between that, working out, high intensity interval training, the jump rope thing, though, holy moly, I slept on that for years. So I'm definitely about to be ramping it up on the jump rope tip for sure. More walks just out on trails, out in nature, just general movement flexibility, all that, right? So, man, I'm healthier now at 44 than I've ever been in my whole life, especially because of simply the knowledge of what I can do and how I can pull this stuff off with the eating. The eating thing, the discipline there is it's like this such a dope linchpin starting point of being like, okay, I can do whatever, right? It's a mental thing. The mind over matter part is so serious. Endurance is hella underrated. Yeah, yeah. I mean, even like, man, I slept on the jump rope thing because it's the endurance and coordination. What's going on with even just the simple little bounces and then like the different skip steps and all that, like the coordination it takes to do that. It's like, okay, I mean, for my size, I'm a pretty agile dude, but that jump rope and more just revealed to me, like, all right, hold on. Um, I gotta write that down. Shout out to my guy Falcon Blizzak in the building. Yeah, I heard about that. The methylene blue. I heard about that. I gotta look into that. I saw somebody talking about that. I will look into that for sure, especially since you saying it. Sends more oxygen to the brain, rebuilds mitochondria. Very interesting. I'll definitely check that out. Damn. Macmon says fasted for 2 weeks to optimize my mental and emotional health, ridding myself of anxiety and having a superb level of mental and third eye clarity. Yeah, 2 weeks. I mean, that actually seemed pretty wild to me. The thought of somebody doing, 14 days, 20 days, 40 days. Now, obviously, you can only pull that off if you have a certain amount of body fat. Because at a certain point, it's just like you got nothing else. But like I'm definitely under, I don't know, probably like 15% body fat, something like that. So directly relative to the fat stores, there's only so much I could even do. But part of the whole game with the fasting thing is this: when you're eating all of this stuff that has like added sugars and preservatives and all these other chemicals, nitrates, all this stuff, plus even in certain vegetables you're eating, you're getting some of the pesticides or glyphosate, all this different stuff even if it's organic. I mean, at this point, the whole it's organic thing is pretty murky, right? So I just assume, and then I mean, if you commute to work or driving on a freeway, you're in inhaling all kind of different toxins and pollutants carbon monoxide, all this stuff. It's all around you. Products in your home, off gassing, cleaning products, the chemicals, microplastics, polyester stuff, your clothes breaking down. All of this stuff is constantly around you. So, and it's going inside you. So the whole fasting thing is creating an environment to where you can pass that stuff out of you. That's one of the biggest parts of it too. So as you're doing that, your body is healing. And if you can balance it out between a fast cycle, cycle back onto some refeeds, eat super clean. In my case, I'm about to come back on this refeed and stay very low carb and basically stay in this ketosis state, even though I'm back in my eating cycles. So I'm gonna keep that going for a few days, and then I might try something like a 2-day celery juice only fast, just for the hell of it, just to see. Because that's the thing. When I do this kind of stuff, then I get into the experimentation mode to where it's just like, all right, let's have fun with it. Let's see what happens if how much more explosive can I be, or how much more endurance can I have on jump roping if I just have celery juice for 48 hours? Let's see. I get into it like that. Just to kind of see. I have engaged in championship street fighting martial art of boxing for 32 years. Damn, that's what's up. And you're throwing in fast like that? That's crazy. Yeah. I'm trying to be like that when I grow up. All right, yeah, this actually went way longer than I thought, but I appreciate you guys pulling up on me for sure. Definitely about to be pushing more on this and like uploads. So make sure y'all hit the bell if you guys are interested in the health tips. The fasting thing is just one part of it. There's a lot of benefits there, but I'm showing you guys like kind of some of the routines on the calisthenics tip and just how I'm merging a bunch of different things together on the health tip and kind of just my overall thought process on it because the health and fitness ties. So when we're talking about physical fitness, it ties directly into mental fitness, mental health, wellness, well-being. Basically a holistic approach, but understanding like the modern times with all the technology. Um, for people that are like independent freelancers, creators, how to kind of manage that. Because there's some people who are like, well, I do work from home, but some people work better in an environment where there's more people. So they need some kind of like push or more community. So it's a weird slippery slope. Community should really be out in the real world, but then at the same time, a lot of people's workflow shifted when a lot of people were sent home. And for me, I like being by myself more so than around a gang of people. So it's easy for me. So I say, hey, well, let me show some kind of tips on how I win off of, doing this with myself, but at the same time, offer somewhat of a resource and a little bit of a community building for other folks. Right on, MacBone. I just got that. I just screenshotted that. That's what's up. So yeah, I'm about to do this refeed. I'm gonna break this. So it's gonna be the bone broth, then it's gonna be the eggs, because I'm coming to this what next slide. So I'm just going back to this. And then the eggs. And I'm trying to think though, because I might just keep it with that and just have a gang of eggs later. Because I'm gonna do the bone broth and wait 4 hours, do the eggs. The thing is, when I do this, my body is about to it's gonna want to shut down. Like I'm about to get the best sleep that I've had in like forever tonight. Because that's one of the benefits. I actually love that part of it. Like it's gonna knock me out. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do this chicken bone broth. I'll probably go hit a lake walk if it doesn't start raining because the weather's acting up in beautiful downtown Oakland. But I want to hit this lake. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see how it works out. Then I'm gonna have my lemon ginger ACV drink. Gotta go to the Sprouts or the Trader Joe's or something. I gotta scout out some things. I'm gonna go do a haul on some stuff for the refeed. But then I'm gonna cycle back with the celery juice and one bowl. So quinoa, kale, arugula, avocado, salmon, cod, and we're going to do the chicken breast. We're gonna ramp that up. That'll be later though. That'll be later. I'll reintroduce some of that maybe tomorrow. Because that's the thing. When you're coming off a fast like this, especially like 3-4 days, you got to ease back into the more solid food for sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. But I'm gonna leave it at that. 84 hours plus on the fast tips. We'll be like 85 and a half, something like that. 85 and a half. What time is it? Yeah, 85 and a half. So I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna break it. And then I'll keep you guys posted on kind of how I feel with that. I might go live again just to kind of keep this going. But shout out to the folks that's interested in on the fasting tip for sure. Because I really like the energy of that, just all the reasons that I broke down about that. But also I'm gonna be dropping some uploads, kind of touching on this stuff where it's not an hour and a half live stream. But I'm gonna leave it at that, y'all. I super duper appreciate it. Shout out Mike Bone, Falcon Black, Black Trunks, G Dizzle, Hulk, Black Savant, Flacco Rich, Will Melvin, World of BC, Atonement, Club Fortune. Definitely come back with it. Freedom only style for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. And I'm gonna leave you guys off like this.